everyone needs to know how to cut a pie successfully. And I want you to bring the world to another one of your brilliant terms, the
sacrifice slice.
Sacrifice slice, amazing.
The sacri slice, it's incredible. And the idea of the sacri slice is you just take a little bit out of your pie. And there's always someone at the party that wants only a little piece, right? So you save that piece for them off to the side. And then it's much easier to cut any other slice from your pie because you've got a little wiggle room. Let's talk about my favorite subject, the dough. Just putting all my butter into my flour here to mix by hand. It needs to be nice and cold. I usually just keep it in the fridge till right before I'm about to mix. And for those people who have hot hands, I do have instructions in my book on how to use a pastry blender, which is, a common kitchen tool, or you can use a food processor as well. So I like to mix it by hand because not only do you get to get your hands into the flour and get a little, throw a little flour around, which is so much fun. You also can have a better feel for when the dough is ready. And for me, that's really, really important. So you just kind of squish it right between your thumb and your finger like this, and kind of flatten it out. What we're trying to do is when that cold fat hits the heat of the oven, the super hot oven, the moisture in the fat is going to release and make this little puff of steam. It's like, poof. And that little puff of steam is what gives us those flaky layers, that thing that we're all going for, a really tender, flaky pie. And I go ahead and mix the butter in until the largest pieces are about the size of walnut halves, and I'll hold those up. So it's a little bit bigger than some people think, and it's really important to leave it that big so we get that nice flakiness going on. Let me show you really quick what the dough kind of looks like when it's done. I'm gonna lift it out because it should come together, but it shouldn't be totally smooth. And when I put my hand on it and take it away, there's no stickiness. So I'm gonna start melting. I've got in my pot here, I've got 2 tablespoons of butter, and I was just swirling it around a tiny bit. We're making my caramel apple pie dough. I replaced the brown sugar I would normally put in my classic apple pie with prepared caramel sauce. And it just is like a great way to give everybody that flavor that they love. Here's that caramel sauce. Pre-cooking the apple filling is a great way to prevent that really common problem people have where the apple filling separates from the top crust. So if you pre-cook the filling, you remove some of the moisture that's in the inside the apple. Pie likes being cold at every stage, so you can't use that hot filling with a nice cold dough. So I've got some that's already ready, and I'm just gonna go ahead and top it. I love to talk about rolling out the dough because I think sometimes people struggle with getting it staying in a round shape. And one of the things that's really important is just keep moving it, keep rotating the dough. That also means you can use less flour as you're rolling. So it's just a really nice way to help keep the shape even, keep your rolling even. I'm gonna use the rolling pin as my transfer. I like to roll it up onto the rolling pin like that. And then unfurl it, which is another one of my favorite words, unfurl. Squishing the top and bottom together. To kind of help adhere the two and really being a little bit aggressive with it because we're also trying to thin out that dough a little at the edge. Then I'm just going to cut away the excess and I like to use scissors for that because I can do it one-handed a little easier. It goes a lot faster.
Now, if you were going to make this ahead and freeze it, is this the point you would freeze the pie?
Actually, I'm really glad you asked that because I just had really, really good luck freezing it after baking. And I have reheating instructions inside the book on pie. I find that it's a little bit more foolproof and it's another way that you can make kind of things ahead and it really refreshes so beautifully. I actually froze an apple pie and mailed it to my parents in Kansas last week because I'm not going to be able to see them. And I just thought I wanted to see if I could get a pie and see if it would work. And it did. And so I really recommend trying freezing it after baking. If you freeze before baking, it can be sometimes problematic for the dough, but also it can be problematic for some pie plates. A ceramic pie plate, if you freeze it solid and then you go right into the oven, it can actually crack the pie plate because they bake so hot. Yeah. I reheat it in a 375-degree oven. It recrisps that crust. It's really kind of amazing how quickly it all comes together.